Today we're going to use Tinkercad 3D printed threads to make a useful part. So let's get cracking. Alright, so friends, that is my microphone rig and there is the clamp. I've already built this, but we're going to remake it one more time just to make it a little bit better. Friends, these are using the ZDP threads so I can swap it out in a heartbeat. How cool is that? So if this is your first time seeing Tinkercad, you can find it at tinkercad.com. I always choose sign in with Google. Now I've got a few lessons out here. There's an ISO screw thread. This was created by ZDP189. And then also we turned that into a knurled thread last week. And then finally, this is my mic holder that I created. This was the piece that was screwed down before. Let me show you the modifications that I made. So this is version 1. If we click on this and ungroup it, you can see that it is just simple parts. We've got the half round roof, and then we cut pieces out to make a shape like this. Now I wanted to make this so it had a quick release. So what I did is I copied the pieces across so we could use them. Now I could have saved them as my creations to bring them in, but instead I did this. If you open a Tinkercad project, notice I've got 2 windows open, and I'm simply grabbing the parts I need. I've already got the thread as part of the knurling, so I'm just going to grab this and hit Control-C to copy. And then if we bounce back to our main area, enter this project again, we can do Control-V and paste that in. Now the bonus of this is that this part is still ungroupable, so that way I could get the thread. You can see the thread cut in here. If I ungroup this part and ungroup it again, you'll see that there are those threads that I cut out. I made a larger hole here so that this part just sits on top, and then the knurled threads lock it in place. Now in this part right here, if we double click, you'll see it is a sketch. And I sunk this area in, and I found out now that there really is no need to. So I'm going to just slide that line up, and then I'm going to hit number 4, which is the edit mode, and I'm going to delete all of these except the endpoints, because that's all I need for that shape anymore. I found that it'll still fit fine. If I hit finish sketch, there's my new part. It does still have the part for the hole to be drilled through. It makes it through, but I do also want to countersink this. I'm going to do that with a cone. I am cruising the cone on top. I'm going to make the base radius 3. I'm going to make the top radius 4. I'm going to make the height of it 1. And I'm going to make it a hole. Now if I select those parts and do L for a line, I want this one to be the boss, and I'm going to make sure that I choose center and center. When we group all of this part, by selecting and doing Control-G, you can see that I've got a bit of a countersunk area. I don't like how that turned out though, so I'm going to double click. I'm going to click on this hole again, and notice it was sitting on top. That was my mistake for not sinking it all the way in. Remember that height is 1 millimeter. So I can simply do Control down arrow, and now it is sunk in. I think I'm also going to change that height to 2 millimeters, just so that screw can go down a little further. Then Control down one more time to make it flush. This pink shows us that we're editing. When I click outside, all of those edits become permanent. Notice it does take a moment for it to snap. And if it did not snap, you can always just do ungroup. And then I'm going to simply grab them again and do Control-G. Bang. Part created. And now it is countersunk. I'm going to still change this one more time by double clicking. And then I want this bottom radius to be 2.5. My other hole here is 5. So now when we click away and let that connect, boom, my countersunk area actually matches, which is a little more slick. So I sent these to the P1S a few minutes ago, and they printed fine. Even with this arch, it was able to handle that fine. I do want to show you how this was designed quick. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees because I did draw it like that. I will also hit D to drop. First, I'm going to ungroup those holes. Now we've got the simple sketch shape, so we can hit edit sketch or double click. Inside, you can see the shape. If we double click, you can see I just matched these to the exact size on each side. And then we came through and made these smooth curves. The trick to making this turn out slick was these curves. See how these are straight across? That's how they end up being perfect. So I just simply stretched these out along that line until I was happy, and then I did the same thing here until I was happy. If you adjust measurements, of course, you can grab lines, move them however you want. I'm going to do Control Z, but that is how I designed this part. Now, I was tracing this original one, but then I just adjusted the numbers to fit a little bit better. I will show you real quick when you're working with Sketch. If the dimensions are ever in your way, you can always click right here. If you want to learn more about Sketch, don't forget you can hit the Sketch features and check out the awesome information that's provided on all these animated windows. Of course, when you're done, hit Continue Sketch. When you're done with your project, you can simply hit Finish Sketch. I'm also going to grab those and I'm going to do Control G to regroup them. I could have printed this oriented just like this as well. I just chose to do it the other way to prove that it would work. Right now I only have to reprint this part, so I'm going to hit Export STL and I'm going to name it Shure Mic Holder Base and save it. Really quickly, bouncing back to Bamboo Lab Studio, you can see the other print was 33 minutes. Of course, now I'm going to delete these. And let's import the Shure Mic Holder Base. I'm using the 0.2 standard. Let's slice plate and print plate and send it to the 3D printer. And not too many minutes later, there is our part. Let's grab it and test it. All right, so step one, we're going to unscrew our system. Just like that, it is free. And then this was the prior one, and now we're going to install this one. Check out that countersinking. Microphone in place. And tighten down just like that. Friends, I do want to highlight that if this went a little too fast for you, I've got tons of basic Sketch tutorials. I'll make sure I have the playlist up in this corner, or you can use the bit.ly to track them down. I would like to quickly say thank you to my supporters via YouTube memberships. Of course, there are 3 different levels of support, starting as low as $5 a month, and with any amount of support, you get early access to videos. I also want to say thank you to everybody supporting me via Patreon. Love how that group is growing. There's a fantastic messaging area. Of course, you can learn more with the bit.ly up above or the link in the description. Finally, friends, I want to say thanks to you for watching. Don't forget, every time you hit that like button, share a video, add a comment down below, or click subscribe. You're helping HLModTech get just a little bit bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day and keep tinkering.